is the Jerry Jonestown Massacre, episode 110. We are broadcasting live this Sunday not at our usual temple of I. We are at Gas Monkey Bar and Grill in Dallas. And we have some special guests with us. But first, happy Sunday, Matt.
Oh, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to KMFDM. Sitting here. Thanks for coming.
And what we want to do is we'll do it from radio right to left. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell everyone what you do so they can get used to your voices.
Right to left. Right is there.
Rechts und links.
Rechts and links. That's right.
So
If we spin around, it's a completely different direction.
you've totally thrown us off there.
Yeah, totally.
So, well, I'm just going to say who I am. I'm called Jules, and I play guitar for KMFDM.
Yeah, you do.
And I'm Sasha, and I do some shouting.
Just here and there.
Yeah,
Just some shouting.
just shouting like stuff.
So y'all are here in Dallas. What is this, your 6th or 7th night on the Salvation Tour?
Probably
Oh.
the 7th.
7th? Has it
Yeah.
all ran together yet? Is it getting blurry?
Well, let's see. We've done Seattle, Vancouver, Portland, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Phoenix.
And here we are in Dallas.
Have y'all spent the night last night in El Paso?
Yeah.
Well, we spent the night on the tour bus.
Oh, on the bus.
We spent a day in El Paso.
Yeah, we had a day off.
roasting and eating roast chicken.
And riding go-karts at Bobo's fun house place thing.
How awesome is that?
We go there, pretty much we've had a day off there. The last 3 times we've toured, we just happen to end up
Actually,
in
we
El
make
Paso.
sure we have a day off in El Paso.
Pretty
I
much,
was
pretty
wondering if
much.
that was a staple of the tour, just
Yeah.
making
Yeah.
sure you get to hang out in El Paso.
Well, for various reasons. Some enjoy the go-kart riding, and so forth.
You're doing what? I had it written down somewhere. 29 shows in 34 days.
About that, yeah.
That's a whirlwind.
That's actually a pretty light schedule for us. We got more days off on this tour than we've ever had.
Really?
Yeah,
Yep.
we usually roll straight through.
That's insane.
We've done like 44 shows in 43 days one time, I believe.
So you had 2 shows in one day?
Yeah, matinee and regular.
No, 6 shows in one day and then 4 days off to recover.
You would need that much. Good gosh.
However you want to look at it, yeah.
And why do you keep moving the notes around?
he's keeping
Are you?
he's keeping you on your toes, you know.
Are you? Okay. I was looking through your Facebook feed the other day, the KMFDM Facebook feed, and just kind of browsing around. I've been a fan since Sucks.
Sucks.
Yep. And Money. Those were the first 2,
1992.
the single and the records I've got.
Yeah.
And then we rolled into Angst and then Nile. And I've been a fan ever since way back when. And there for a while, Sasha, you were based here in the U.S.
What's that?
You were based in the U.S.
I was, yeah. I lived here for nearly 20 years.
in
Nearly
Seattle.
20 years, yeah.
And
Chicago, New York, Seattle.
you recently moved back
Yep.
to Germany. And then you posted the other day on Facebook that this tour might be your last U.S. tour.
Yeah, it's just, the amount of red tape kind of increases every time. This time, we got we were told that the IRS is sending out letters to pretty much every promoter that we're, having shows booked with, asking them to withhold 30% of our fucking money, which is complete bullshit because KMFDM Incorporated is a U.S. corporation since 1991. There are consecutive corporate and individual tax returns with my name on it filed every friggin' year. And why the hell should we be regarded as non-resident aliens all of a sudden? It doesn't matter where I live. I'm a U.S. taxpayer, and I'm a U.S. employer, and have an employment federal identification number. I have everything it takes, and it fucking pisses me off.
That is quite ridiculous.
And the shit I have to go through every couple of years to get a friggin' work visa, it's just like they treat you like criminals when all you do is pay your taxes and employ U.S. people.
So do you have dual citizenship or
No,
just
no,
you
no,
ca-
I'm
okay? So you have
German.
to get the visas.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Jules, when you come over, because you're from England.
I am, but I live in Seattle.
Oh, you do?
And, yeah, and
So you don't have to worry about.
No, I don't have to worry about any of this. I mean, the stress for touring for me is a totally different situation. I do a lot of the pre-roll musically, and Sasha has to deal with all the red tape and paperwork and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I don't have any of those worries. I'm a green card holder, so you know. But it sucks to sort of see your buddy put in so much work, and then it's like, oh my god, this could screw everything. But I think we've got it figured out.
It's not like the good old days of being a garage band and piling a van and just going city to city and seeing what happens.
No,
I mean, the logistics are like, I've been working on this tour since November last year. And that's, talking to my agent on a almost daily basis, what do you got? What can we do? How can this be timed, Is this doable? Getting the bus lined up, everything. Then, the closer it gets to the actual day, you buy plane tickets for people to fly from Europe to the US, from Florida to Seattle, blah, blah, blah. You get your crew together, and then the last minute they throw you a fucking wrench, like, hey, we're gonna keep 30% of your cash flow. I get it back. I get it back next year in June or July, whatever. But how am I gonna fill the hole in my pockets right now when everybody goes like, I need money for bus fuel, I need money for, to send home, I need money to buy a new pair of drumsticks, whatever. It kind of sucks. So I guess what I mean is, it won't be the end of KMFDM touring, but I may just not undertake these humongous efforts to get a tour rolling. I'm going to have someone else do it. And that is if they think it's profitable, right?
So is there this much red tape in Europe when you
What's
tour?
that?
Is there this much red tape in Europe
None whatsoever.
on tour? You can just,
No.
is it pretty much free-willing? Go wherever you want to do? and
There's no borders, just do what you want.
just do what you want. Do you think this has to do with the U.S. becoming more of a police state style society that we're getting to? They're just starting to lock down on everything.
I mean, on one hand, the IRS is, understaffed. On the other hand, they have enough personnel to set up a new division where they monitor supposedly foreign entertainers, athletes, whatever, and take their money. So it's all fucked up. I mean, don't even make me talk about actual immigration. Like,
Come on, let's go.
You fly nicely, you sit in a plane, you fly for 10 hours, everything's cool. And then you're being kind of herded like cattle.
Yep.
Just after, after about 2 hours of waiting to speak to some pig-faced asshole who goes like, and what do you want? And what do you think you want in this country? It's like, fuck, man. Don't get me started, though.
I'm being a hog here. Since we're sharing a microphone, I'm going to let you take a little bit.
Oh, man. Yeah.
We're kind of running behind right now. We've got to get sound check going at some point pretty soon.
Okay.
I guess real quick, I wanted to touch on your writing process and just the amount that has changed in the last 31 years. Are you still writing on are you writing on tablets and laptops now? Are you writing on, pieces of paper like you did back in the day, or how's it affected you?
Nothing has changed. You need to have an idea for something like a song starter kind of idea, and then regardless of what you have at hand, you just sort of fix the idea somehow,
Right.
sketch it, and send it around.
Yeah.
There's a lot of back and forth, like FTP
Sending
files
emails and stuff.
And, sort of initial ideas, and
Yeah.
like you'll get in touch, say, hey, come up with a guitar riff to this bass line and this drum beat, and then I do that and send it back.
Yeah.
And then I hear it 3 months later, and I'm like, oh, was that what I played? Oh, shit.
Delete.
Hey, what's your go-to device for starting writing? Like, when you're coming up with a concept or an idea, what do you grab?
Pornhub.
Pornhub? Right there for...
Me too.
I'm a guitarist, so it's always the guitar. And maybe some drum programming to like go along with that. And then,
Sasha, what about you? Like, today you have, iPhones and iPads and everything at your disposal that have all sorts of emulators on them.
Well, I don't use them to fix ideas. I use them to communicate and shit. Hold on one second. What does it say, Lucia? Excuse me for 1 second.
in fact, we might have to cut this short and maybe revisit it after soundcheck. We're running over right now.
Okay.
And we got to get soundcheck going.
That's fine.
Yeah, man.
We can do that after sound check, whatever. That's
Okay, cool.
Y'all need to bolt now?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, we'll
we
press
need
pause.
to-
We can press stop right now. And we'll come back. Sound check wrapped up. Back here with Sasha.
Sounds good, too.
Sounds
Still
good
going on, apparently.
Sounds real good. So
Check.
before you were pulled away, we were talking about gear. Like when you're writing, when you're coming up with new stuff, do you have something you go to just straight away to start pounding away on?
What do you mean, like?
Like, there's so many. You've got the iPhone. The
Yes. 1, 2. 1, 2.
All right.
Hey, Josh! We're trying to conduct an interview here. Can you need this? All right.
All right. So
Let's just try it.
like today, technology, we've got, an iPhone, iPad. They have all sorts of crazy apps you can quickly start composing something on. Is there a piece of gear you go to when you're coming up with ideas or writing?
My head, mostly. I mean, it's, like I say, I don't have an iPhone. I got a little Nokia shit piece from 2002. I have an iPad to basically watch movies with my daughter.
Okay.
I find it very cumbersome because, as I'm getting older, my vision isn't so good. So I have to dig out my reading glasses, where when I step in front of, say, a Korg MS-20, I just have the knobs. I know the thing. I see it. It works, So, yeah, I mean, I'm a very tactile person and not very good with small things on small screens.
I understand.
Mini keyboards with mini cables and plugs,
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I tried like this or that kind of music app on the iPad, but I find it rather unsatisfactory because it's just cumbersome.
Yeah. So you mentioned you have a daughter. Is she?
Yeah,
She,
yeah.
She lives in She's in Hamburg now.
Yeah,
she doesn't go on the road with you.
Oh, she's with us here.
Oh, she is.
Yeah.
That's
she's
awesome.
She's probably at the ice skating rink right now.
Oh yeah.
Or
Nice.
somewhere.
Does she always go on the road with you?
Yeah,
or-
she's been with us since she was born.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
How old is she? If you don't
She's
mind me
7.5 now.
asking? Oh yeah.
Yep.
Is she starting to dig what Dad does?
She loves everything. I mean, everybody's her friend.
Yeah.
She knows these guys since she can remember.
They're like family.
Yeah. She learned how to walk on a moving tour bus.
Yeah.
It's going from one bench to the other.
Well, that's a challenge.
Yeah.
in
That can be
itself.
hard for me.
Well,
Tour bus.
at first I was very concerned about it because I didn't think like kids should be exposed to life on the road. But I don't have anyone that I can leave her with.
Yeah.
Besides that, I wouldn't want to be without her for like 6 weeks or
drive you
not even
nuts?
for like 2 days. That's what I mean. So yeah, we worked around. For some time we got 2 tour buses. One was a quiet one with just a few people on it. Back lounge was converted into some kiddie room, with a big safe bed. and
That's
net
awesome.
and stuff. And now that she's older, we don't need that anymore. She
Yeah.
sleeps in her own bunk, and she's totally used to life on the road.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like
So what does she think about this heat? Is she like, I want to go back home now?
no, she loves it.
She
This
does?
is her summer vacation. I mean,
Yeah.
I said to her, "What should we do? The only time really that we can do it
Yeah.
conveniently would be during your vacation."
Yeah.
It's like, let's do it
Does she have a chance to soak in like local attractions and
every day.
culture
yeah.
stuff?
Yeah, she's with we have a good friend that is her nanny,
Uh huh.
and the nanny has a 12-year-old daughter. So those two are like the team already.
Uh huh.
And every day there's a plan. They go to the zoo or, like I said, the ice skating rink today. And
That's
it's
awesome.
always a program, and
Yeah.
a lot revolves
That's pretty rad.
around her schedule. So I make a lot of free time, hang out on the bus with her.
Yeah.
That's
we
way
talk
cool.
German, so she doesn't lose her German.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Is
funny.
she bilingual though? She
Yeah,
also
totally.
knows English?
Yeah. The first language she spoke was English, because her mom, Lucia, speaks English with her. And I tried the German speaking, but I just sort of fell on deaf ears, just like blank stare. Mama, what's the guy saying? And as soon as she hit kindergarten, within a week, she
Yeah.
was on, like German. Bah.
That's, man, to see the evolution of you guys. I had a question about maybe what you, Sasha, would tell 21-year-old Sasha back in the day. What advice would you give yourself back in the day?
Myself, huh?
Right.
Yeah, I often think about that. I would probably just say, just cool it a bit more. Don't be so hard on yourself.
Right?
Don't do so many drugs at a time.
Spread it out.
Spread it out.
Yeah, like slow down a bit,
Yeah.
Slow down. Yeah, I mean, I'm happier now than I was when I was 21. I'll tell you that much.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like life was it seemed like it could end at every given moment.
Right.
Had you asked me then if I would ever turn or live to see my 28th birthday, I would probably said no.
Yeah.
But now I'm twice that age, so fuck it.
Right. Well, you look great. Another question I got, kind of on the same, as far as like what the difference is between back in the day and now, is you have social media everywhere. How has that affected KMFDM and the way you interact with the fans of your band and
Well, I'm kind of a late arrival at all the social media stuff. That has to do with the way that the whole KMFDM headquarters was run. I had a couple of friends that were kind enough to really run the operation very smoothly out of Houston, Texas for many years. And then it just became a thing where the turnaround, the returns weren't like working out anymore. And I had to really organize everything myself and restart the thing. And that's when I jumped on the Facebook kind of thing. And I don't know. I mean, it just seems like myself running it brought the likes or whatever the measures are that you count that with. Brought it up from like 3,000 to over 100,000 in just like about 3 months.
yeah,
That's
which
really
which
cool.
goes to show that people want to they don't want to talk to someone that blurts out kind of news or tidbits of information, but they want to see the real deal,
Yeah.
kind of. Yeah, and that works out good. Yeah.
95% of the time, it's a publicist that's running, the social media accounts. So it is cool being able to interact with.
Yeah, I'm seeing it especially on
So-
this tour. We got a bunch of people that are posting, like the guys from TuneSpeak. They're holding these contests, and
Right.
some of the venues have.
That
Holy
just happened.
Fuck.
I think something. God.
Someone just set a tactical nuclear bomb off in the music venue.
Hairs on my
Wow,
arms
that-
are standing straight
That
up.
affected me. Like,
Speaking of the drugs,
wow. Holy shit.
I know you guys are loud, but good grief.
That's not even us. I don't know anyone there.
yeah.
Oh, that's Chant. All right.
Okay. Anyway, all right. So,
So I had a question about the music. What is the funnest song right now for KMFDM for you to do? What is the funnest KMFDM
Right now on this
song
tour?
to do right now on this tour?
I don't know. I like them all, kind of. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we had a hard time coming down with the set list because we wanted to reincorporate some of the older stuff. And having 200 plus songs to choose from is kind of hard. I don't know. I mean, I like them all, really.
Yeah. Well, it looks like you're doing 23 tunes on your set list on a regular
That's
basis
amazing.
this tour.
There's about over 20 songs, yeah.
That's
So-
a good night.
Do you want to take a break at some point, like in the middle of the set, and like, hey, I need to get some water?
Well, there's this one song, Animal Out, where I really like to smoke a cigarette. That's about halfway in the set.
Uh-huh.
And some venues let me, some go like, no, you can't do it, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's kind of split up nicely between the songs that Lucia is kind of leading on, and you know, I get to kick back a little bit, and it works out good. I mean, you know, I love every moment of it.
Yeah.
You've as we said earlier, last year was your 30th anniversary. You guys have, in 30 years, 19 albums?
Something like that.
And you've been with this band since 2003, this makeup?
With this
Live.
outfit, we're touring since 2002.
2002?
Yeah, since Attack.
Is there a certain era of KMFDM that you love, or you look back on and like, man, that was my favorite era, those were the good times, or
And KMFDM.
or is it now? Are you
No,
still
it's
rolling
now.
on?
I mean, you know, I mean, honestly, like, there was a time where things were really great. It was like when Ministry had invited us to open for them in 89, 90. And I felt like, you know, this is really exciting. There's a lot of shit happening here it's going to be really good. And basically after the Ministry tour, I just returned to Hamburg, sold my shit, and moved to Chicago, you know. And that was really exciting. And then it just happened over the next 4 or 5 years, between 91 maybe and 96, that the atmosphere in the band like got really sour, to the point that, you know, I had my own tour bus because I couldn't stand the other guys, they couldn't stand me, and you know, we blew a shitload of money just on basically separating ourselves from one another, and that wasn't good. And I thought the material that we recorded really suffered from it too. And then at some point I was just like, guys, look, we must call it quits. It doesn't work like that, you know. I can't stand to be around you. You can't stand to be around me. So fuck it, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy with the result of like the hiatus, and then meeting Jules and Andy and Steve, which were basically the band for Pig, and they all moved out to Seattle at the time, and we had some really good years together, barbecuing basically every day, you know. hanging
Awesome.
out.
Where it became more of a brotherhood than a band,
Yeah, pretty much.
a family.
And then, you know, I decided, and Lucia decided to move to Germany, so now it's like a new dynamic. We don't get to see everyone every day, you know? So we make the most of the time we have and really sort of shoot the shit and hang out, and it's very good.
That's really cool.
Sasha, in this country, in the U.S., you guys are pretty much, actually internationally, you guys are kind of considered one of the forefathers of industrial music. How does that make you feel when you hear that?
Well, it's not really true. I mean, industrial music is not what we do. Industrial music has a time in history. I would say it's Robin Gristle and, you know, Einstürz and Neubau, and that's industrial music. But regardless of that, I mean, the term industrial guitars, electronic stuff, we weren't really the inventors of it. I mean, Ministry was doing it, Skinny Puppy was doing it to some degree. You know, we just came from Germany and we brought a different twist to it, really. Interestingly enough, I just realized the other day that we were the only German band signed by Wax Trax ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
There's a lot of Belgian bands, a couple of British,
But no German.
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
what-
one Italian band, I guess. Pankow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Huh.
weird.
Never thought about that.
So
But what's really funny, back to the
Yeah, go
the
ahead.
IRS kind of story. the letters that were sent out, they didn't bear our actual names, but our stage names. Like, not like Andrew John Selway, as he would
Yeah.
be known to the government,
Yeah.
but Andy and Stiz, you know. So,
Do they have
so I
any?
figured they just went to our Facebook page and
Copy.
they read, you know, hometown, Mega City 1, Antarctica, and the woman must have probably thought, God damn, that's not American. Send them these letters, you know.
Yeah.
Well, did
So-
they have any legal ground then if they just sent
No,
you the letters
none
and-
whatsoever. None whatsoever.
Talking about, you kind of hit on it there for a minute, the dark period, and then when the band kind of broke up, and then out of nowhere comes MDFMK.
Right.
And you released one album under that moniker. Any of those songs gonna see the day live again, maybe in the set list? Or
Well, the whole MDFMK thing was kind of like an idea that I had with Tim Skold.
uh-huh.
He had come into the fold like in around 2007. No, sorry, 1997. 1997. And him and I just really kind of hit it off. We seemed to have a good way to work together. And potentially he was even like maybe the accelerator of this kind of split that happened, because all of a sudden I realized, hey, there's one guy I really like to work with, but all the other guys hate him and they hate me, so. And I started KMFDM, so yeah, of course I take KMFDM wherever I want it, right? I mean, everybody got paid all the time. Everybody just came to me, if you want me to record for you, if you want me to tour for you, pay me. I was always the guy that shelled out the money, took all the risk. So I didn't see any reason to, not take that name with me. And for times, just for gaining time, so to speak, to do something that is not KMFDM, I just reversed the name and signed with a major, as I said I would never do. And that financed my divorce. That was very nice. Thank you, EMI Music. Thank you, Universal. And
For the legal help. Divorce sponsored by EMI Universal.
and then Tim went on, got this offer to be with Marilyn Manson, which for him was, a logical continuation on his way to stardom. Something that he was always quite fond of, or interested in rather, which doesn't really matter to me at all. I mean, I'm like, I don't give a shit. I would hate to be famous. I would hate to be recognized in the street. So yeah, everybody went their own ways, and then I hooked up with the boys from England, and we started KMFDM, and it was a great decision.
But
Really good.
you and Tim still collaborate a little
We
bit.
did
here
it.
and
We
there,
did an
right?
album like about in 2008,
Yeah.
7 years ago. But I haven't really heard lately from him. I don't know what he's up to.
Oh, okay.
He seems to have kind of vanished a little bit. I don't know, but that's cool. I mean, you know how it is. Like when you have really good friends, you don't have to see them for 20 years. You just sort of reconnect in an instant. Snap,
bam.
right there.
Well, you go back to that brotherhood family thing. You just, when you see someone.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Well, it's been great. We really appreciate your time today. Are we?
My pleasure. Absolutely.
The artwork
Yeah.
and hooking up with Brute, Aiden Hodges. How did that come about? Because he's been there since
Yeah, that's a
cassette
good story,
one,
actually.
album one, and there's not a whole lot known about Brute. He's put out books and publications here. He's like most artists. He does his thing, and
I got to get a little more long-winded to really make the story good, right?
Okay,
So it
go
was
for
like
it.
this. I was standing in a bar in Germany talking to a guy that came from East Germany, and he was recognizable by his accent. So, I was just talking to him to hear him speak because it's a funny accent. It's like kind of funny.
it's like Texans
So-
going to California.
And he was like, yeah, I'm looking for bands, I'm looking for bands that make unusual music. I'm like, what? So you have a label or something? He's like, yeah, I have a label. I'm like, well, I have unusual music. And I give him a cassette that we had just recorded that day. And so we talked over the next couple of days, and he said, okay, I can facilitate your stuff to be made into a vinyl album. I was like, this is great. Pretty awesome. And who's going to pay for it? He said, I'll pay for it. I was like, good, very good. So we pressed this album, had 1,000 copies in the trunk of my car. And I drove from record store to record store in Hamburg. It's like, hey, do you guys want to buy a couple of copies of this record? And people were like, nah, not really. So, I tried to give some away, but I still had about 980 copies left. And then I drove to England, and I looked in the phone book, record labels. And I went to Mute, I went to 4AD, I went to Beggar's Banquet, you name them. I spoke to a lot of receptionists, and I handed over a lot of records to be given to people like Daniel Miller from Mute or whatever. So, back in Hamburg, maybe 3-4 weeks later, I get a postcard from England. Some guy says, do you have a telephone number? So I'm like, yes, I have a telephone number. I wrote him a postcard back. very odd. So then, out of the blue, this guy phones me. I barely understand a word he's saying because he speaks with this really thick Liverpool accent. But it turns out he has a record label. He was in London. He was talking to someone at Mute, and on his way out, he saw the receptionist dump a record into the dumpster. And he picked it up, looked at it, and it was the KMFDM record. He liked it. He wanted to re-release it for the UK, and he wanted to do different artwork on it. So we hooked up back in London, and there was Aiden. So I met Aiden. He had this piece of artwork, and I was like, this looks fucking great. You know, let's do it. So not only did the guy facilitate meeting and hooking up with Aiden, but he then licensed the record to Wax Trax. And then about a year later, I got a phone call from Wax Trax in Chicago asking if we wanted to open for Ministry. I'm like, what? Like what? A tour? Like we go on tour in America? How? You know, who would pay for it? It's like they were like, well, you got to figure that out. You know? So first, I went and bought a Ministry record, and it was with Sympathy. I was like, this is a really shit band, but hey, you know, hey man, I mean, we can go on tour in America. That could be really cool. So I went to my bank and I talked to my bank manager and I said, look, I just got this offer to tour in America, but I need money to buy plane tickets. And he said, you know, surprisingly, he said, okay, I'll give you 10,000 or whatever Deutschmarks for the duration of 3 months, but you have to pay me back. You have to pay interest on it. It's like, great. And I bought tickets. We arrived in Chicago. It was dead of winter, freezing fucking cold. First rehearsal we go to, there's Ministry, 2 drum kits, 5 guitarists, you know. It's like, all right, this turns out pretty good. Then I talked to the guys at Wax Trax, and they were like, hey, we want to sign KMFDM. And I was like, sign KMFDM? Haven't even heard us yet. Like, oh, yeah, we've sold like about 80,000 copies of these 2 albums that we have licensed. You know, like 80,000 copies? Oh man, there must be some royalties for that. And they're like, yeah. We opened a bank account for you. You know, I'm like, can I have $500? They were like, there's $79,000 right there for you. What the fuck? I'm staying here, man. So yeah, that was the story. I mean,
So
you know, without a shitload of luck and pure coincidence and just really good juju happening somehow, we wouldn't be sitting here talking. You know, I would be in Hamburg, probably dead or something. Or dental assistant or some shit.
Isn't that how the music industry goes, though? I mean,
Yeah.
so much luck plays into it.
Totally,
works into it.
tons of luck.
Well, we appreciate you hanging out with us.
Yeah, it was good
talking
fun.
to us, and we look forward to seeing you tonight.
Yeah, you're
Destroyed.
obviously on the list. That's all taken care of.
I don't think so. I don't know what she took care of with you.
Well,
or
who
anything.
hooked us up?
Our publicist, Violet Sparks.
Oh, she emailed me. Yeah,
Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
and then I emailed you this morning. So.
Give me your names and we'll take it.
Okay.